This is my 246 max video. I'll be making it in a similar fashion to the 1-2 video, 4 tables and the audio afterwards. I've been playing these tables for a little while. As you can see, I have slightly more than 100 big blinds on some of them. Hadn't picked up too much in the way of reads except for the lower left table. The player Shui Louie, he had been open limping some and not playing that well. So here, right off the bat, I open ace queen and get min 3 bet by the small blind, which he had done once before. And I flop top pair, second kicker on a really dry board, and I just flat because I think he's got a lot of bluffs in his range, and I don't know, just raising's kind of awkward. Like, he'll probably fold a lot of worse hands. The only hands I'm really going to get value from are weaker aces, and I expect to get value from them on later streets anyway. Additionally, he might not understand how bad of a board it is to 2-barrel and make some bad turn bets. So he bets the turn, and I call again for the basically same reasons as the flop. And he checks the river, so I bet 110 into, or 111 into 185 for value, obviously, and he folds. So I can only assume he had maybe a weirdly played mid-pocket pair or just a bluff. On the lower right table, I defend 7-8 suited. I'll 3-bet it sometimes. I'm usually not going to fold to an unknown. So he calls, and the turn's ace of spades, and then extend here. So he called the flop kind of quick, and it would lead me to believe that he won't have a strong pair or a hand stronger than one pair. Like, most sets in 2 pairs are going to at least think about if they want a 3-bet or at least respond to the check raise, but his call was so like automatic. I feel like he'll do the same thing with overpairs as well. So the ace, it's not like the best card to bet because he's going to have a fair amount of flushes, I think. Maybe he has like a king 4 of spades, bare flush draw that he just knew was an automatic call on the flop. But I felt like more of his hands were going to be like pocket eights or something. So I bet kind of small, leaving myself room to shove river if he flatted. Although I probably wouldn't, because I think the only hands that he's going to call the turn with a fold river would be 10-3 kings with a spade. So I was probably not going to shove the river, but based on how fast he called the turn, I was going to have to make a decision. In the upper left, I fold king jack to this guy's open. I'd call king jack suited, king queen off, and I'd call king jack off sometimes. Just felt like not calling this time. And so that guy folds. Nice result, obviously. I can only imagine he had like maybe a 9 or 2 8s or something. So, some things I noticed immediately at 2-4 that were different than 1-2 was pre-flop aggression levels. I mean, there were still some fish open limping and just like flatting a lot and not 3-betting, but for the most part, there's a lot more 3-betting and more 4-betting as well. And I'm not talking about just from this session because I had logged 1 or 2 sessions earlier in the week just to get a feel for the limit. And yeah, those are the conclusions I drew. So in the upper left, I check behind 9-6-3-2 spades with ace-6. I think a lot of the guys' range for calling the small blind is going to be pocket pairs, and the hands that aren't pocket pairs, I want to induce some bluffs on the turn. Yeah, I just don't think I get value from too much worse on the flop. I have to fold to a check raise. And I'm fine just checking there and looking to get value on later streets. In the upper right, I raise 10-8 off and just check it down when I flop showdown value. And I see that like I defended 10-6 off, so the same guy that min 3-bet me is defending his big blind with 10-6 offsuit. So it's definitely important. And I'm going to take a note. So now he calls a small blind. I flop a double gutter. Definitely going to bet multiple barrels against someone who's peeling that light in the big blind against me. Or just feeling in general. I assume he's going to have a lot of weak pairs, but then he min raises. So I call getting good immediate odds, and just fold when he bets the flush completing turn. I have pretty bad equity. Certainly calling, I think, is spew. I have to either shove or fold, and I just don't think I have enough fold equity and enough actual equity with just 8 high, no heart. On the upper left, I flat ace 10 in the small blind. I'm pretty much never going to 3-bet there. I don't really want to inflate the pot with a hand that's easily going to be dominated, and probably won't dominate him that often. So I just call, and I'll check raise the king a3 flop sometimes, but this time I just decided to fold. That's another thing that is different from 2-4 from 1-2. People have better hand rigging skills, so I can't just check raise boards that they're unlikely to hit relentlessly because I'll get floated or sometimes 3-bet. I mean, not an insane amount, but a fair amount. So here's the first interesting hand, I guess. I flat ace-3 suited on the button against this guy's cutoff open, and I flop bottom pair, top kicker with a backdoor flush draw. And I believe we're slightly deeper than 100 big blinds, like 130 big blinds deep. So I have a couple options on the flop. I can call and play the turn, sometimes turn my hand into a bluff, sometimes improve a 2-pair or pick up flush outs. Or I could raise as like a semi-bluff. If it was a good aggressive player, I feel like raising might be slightly better than calling, just because I'm going to get 2-barreled a lot, and my hand's not really strong enough to call down, because he's also going to be betting like all better hands. Maybe not all better hands, but most better hands. I think it's somewhat close. Here I just decided to call. I'm not exactly sure if having the backdoor flush draw should make me more likely to raise or to call. It'll certainly give me more equity in the pot if I raise, but it also lets me play more turns if I call. In the lower left, I flat ace-10 off to 3-bet. This guy had been 3-betting me some before the video, so I felt pretty comfortable defending here. So here this guy bets 40 into 71, and my initial reaction is that he doesn't really like his hand that much. Maybe like 2 jacks with no spade or something that, I don't know, kind of wants to bet, but doesn't really want to play the pot if I raise. So I make it 155, but he calls really quick. And then he open jams the river. So I can only assume he had a set and was just scared of the flush and then made a bad open shove in the river. I'm just going to extend here for a second. With the ace-10, the guy checked the turn, and I bet kind of small, try to wrap a float, let him make a check raise all in with a draw, or maybe he checked ace-jack or ace-queen or whatever, but he folds. I'm pretty happy with my play in that hand. I'm not really sure what else I could do. The turn, I guess, is debatable to check, but it's not really a likely bluff spot for the villain on the river. Most people just aren't going to go bet check bet as a bluff in 3-bet pot. So I'm happy with my turn bet when the flush draw turns. On the upper left, I raise ace-8 suited, get flatted by the button, and the flop comes pretty coordinated. I'll check call here sometimes. I'll bet sometimes. Here I decided to check call. Reason being, there's a lot of bad turns. Easy for me to get bluff raise. I'm not so sure that an unknown villain at 2-4 will bluff raise me, but I'm certainly fine just check calling and inducing bluffs. And I'd be calling on blank turns for sure, but I think even if he's going to continue bluffs on that turn, he's also going to have it a lot, and I'm also going to be facing a river bet, which I'm not prepared to call, so I'm fine just playing like I did. And not that it's entirely relevant, but it's not exploitable either, because I'll show up with a 7 there for a amount of time. Yeah, so that ace-3 suited hand, obviously just trying to rep a flush on the turn, get him to fold 1 pair. Whether or not I jam the river is debatable. I probably would be more often than not. But not on the 8, so although I think his shove is bad, with pretty much anything, in that instance it happened to be, I guess, correct versus my hand, because I wasn't going to bluff shove. So there are flat ace-jack suited versus the cutoff open, pretty much the